welcome to today's episode. What are you doing?
I recorded. That way everybody can hear your Arnold.
Episode 3.
I'm not even going to cut it. I'm
Top of the morning to you.
Keeping it there.
Chap.
Hello again. We are on our 3rd episode. Can you believe it?
The crowd goes wild.
It is crazy. 3rd episode. So, as we promised from last week, we're talking about toxic moms.
Toxic moms. Toxic moms.
I think we all can relate to that in one way or another. Agreed. So, we didn't get to hear too much from Haas last week because he was in his feelings, respectably.
In another place.
It was a very hard episode. So I get it. So this time, Haas is going to read to us because we like his voice.
Yes.
He's
and I don't want to cry again.
One of the letters that we got, well, messages, whatever you want to call them, and it's from a teen listener of ours. Someone that we sat down with personally and actually listened to her story. It was interesting, especially considering that we got like a one-sided story for so long. So this is her side via messenger, via burn email too, because the page is completely gone.
Low-key genius. These kids are smart nowadays,
Low-key,
man.
y'all are smart. So we're going to keep your identity completely anonymous as Haas soothes you with
That's
ASMR.
crazy. It's like, when I was a teenager, like, I thought I was like big man on campus when I star 6-7 somebody, you know? And
Right.
now you're over here creating burner phone numbers and burner emails and you're rerouting the web and I don't know.
They're going to take over the world. They're Pinky in the brain.
Pinky and the
What are we going to do today, brain?
Same thing we do every day.
Pinky. Try to take over the
The
world.
world.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Not.
Take it away, sir. Take it away.
All right.
All right.
Settle in.
Everybody settle in and listen to the soothing jazz. Just kidding. But anyway, so
That sounded great.
the email guy.
All right. End the show.
You're
Good
welcome.
enough. Episode 3. See you later.
Next episode next week.
So we're going to start it off by a listener that goes by the name of Monica. You know me very well, but please keep this anonymous as I do not want my mother to see this. My mom is a narcissist and I just found this out. I don't know what to do. All of my life I thought she was different from my friends' moms, but I just figured maybe behind closed doors all moms were like this. I started to see more of why my dad left, because now she's starting to do it to me. She'll claim she loves me, but I don't feel it. Between the words she yells at me sometimes, or the jabs she takes at me, then tells me I'm being a drama queen when it hurts my feelings. She'll say she's in a bad mood, but a lot of times I feel like it's literally because I'm around and she'd have a life if it wasn't for me. She just gets so mad at me so quickly and then tries to act like it never happened or gives me some weird apology that doesn't feel sincere, like she's just doing it to make herself feel better. It's exhausting being more of an adult than she is, honestly. What literally makes me so mad is that she did way worse at my age than I even dreamed of doing, but if the tables were turned, she'd lose her mind. I even suggest one thing she doesn't agree with, she jumps down my throat. Most kids my age are doing so much worse than me. I don't go anywhere or hang out with friends like I want to, all because I don't want the 3rd degree from her. Why have kids if you literally treat them like this? What would you guys do if you were in my shoes? I feel like I'm never going to have a life of my own. Thank you guys and love you always.
That's sad.
Aw, poor baby.
No. Hey, poor baby.
Oh, her shoes.
This is a rock and a hard place as far as answers because
Yeah, I'm torn because I'm like looking at it in my perspective as a parent. Like, could I ever see myself being like that towards my kids? And I don't think that I could. Like, I feel bad if I even like tell them that they can't have like a piece of candy or something. Like, you know, some minor things. But at the same time, like, I grew up with my mom like that. And so I kind of want to say, you know, in that aspect, like, there is an end to it. But it's, you know, you gotta truck through it. It sucks. But being a kid, sometimes you gotta get through things like that, deal with it, and then just learn to be a better person from it. You know, I don't revolve my life anymore about how I grew up. If anything, it taught me to live differently. You know, not treat people a certain way, not treat my kids a certain way. So the most I can say is just try to be a better person than what your example has been.
yeah.
Break the cycle.
Yeah, that was gonna be my put in, only because, like, without naming any names or pointing any fingers or anything like that, like, I've watched kids since I was 14 years old. So I came across like every mother you can possibly think of. Some were really, really involved with their kids, others not so much, but life I'm guessing has like a lot of factors when it comes to that too, because like they have different jobs or you know, a lot of them were just super honest and said that they didn't have a motherly bone in their body, but at least that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing as a parent.
Right.
So because you don't want to offend anybody either by sitting there saying, well, I would never do something like that, or how awful of you, you're a terrible person. I think people are human.
Yeah.
And
I mean, don't get me
caught
wrong.
up in it.
I yell at my kids.
Yeah.
But
There's probably been once or twice that I can honestly say probably more than once or twice where I did something and I regretted it. I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have spoke to her that way. Or I could have been better in that moment. How would I feel if my mother was speaking to me that way?
Right.
So for me, that's how I look at life. And I would go back there and be like, look, you know, adults are humans too. Like, let me sit down and talk to you and you can understand my point of view too, the way I understand yours. But see, that's the difference, I think.
I think that's how I handle it with my kids usually. Like, it's not that I don't say stuff that I don't regret or that might hurt their feelings or something that might stick with them, but I do make sure to make amends for it, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what I never had. You know, it wasn't that, like she said, it's not a sincere apology. It's mainly to make herself feel good. But it sounds horrible, but I kind of get it.
I get that in the sense, as long as
it's still
comes
hurtful to
from,
the child.
Yeah.
As long as it's like a viable reason.
But it kind of made me think about myself, like, wait, like, do I do that? Like, are my apologies not as sincere as I think they're coming off as? Like, am I putting it off as, I think I'm being apologetic, like, genuinely, but are they perceiving it differently? You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking of it from her perspective as, like, the child versus the mom.
And
I'm
conversation to have with your kids, though. I think you should have like an open communication. Like, for me, that's always been my top thing. Like, anybody that knows me, they're like, Trish is all about Kira.
Yes.
That's because I wanted her to know that I respected, you know, her having a voice, her having an opinion. Like, I know so many parents that try to fake that. How recently I just had that, like I sent you over all this stuff where she was yelling at me and I'm like, no. Healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
But if you're faking it, if you're literally just doing it for like a label or you're pretending to advocate for your kids, it shows. And the kids are so honest.
And I think there's a big difference in not being like, even just like sincere, but I mean, kids are smart. Like, they know.
Kids are
like,
smart.
They can tell when you're just trying to not have you go tell this to somebody else type stuff versus you're genuinely sorry or you genuinely feel bad.
And I think that's where she was trying to get at too.
Yeah.
Was that she felt it was different, that it wasn't sincere.
That sucks. That, like, as much as like I didn't get along with my mother, I don't think I ever got the courage to be like, hey, you're kind of sucking right now.
Yep.
So I don't know what to tell her as far as like getting the courage to speak up for herself, because it's not going to be good advice.
Look, I'm not a good person for that, because my mom's honest. She
I mean,
would
I
have whooped
might
our
have.
butts. Every 5 booties that she brought into this world, she would have whooped. For being like, excuse me, you could have come at me in that
Exactly.
tone of voice.
Exactly.
But that's
So I'm
I
like,
think
my
that's the
advice at the
difference.
same time would not be advice I would give my
God.
own kids. Like, hey,
Like, mom put the fear of everything into us, and like not just God. Like,
I never even said a swear word around my mom until I got out of boot camp in the military. And I let it slip. And she just looked at me and I was like, oh, nope, that's it.
oh my gosh.
I was a grown man at that point.
Can I
and
tell you
still,
a side story?
yes.
The first time I
We
ever got
like
caught
that.
cussing, it wasn't even a serious cuss word, right? Like, kids are so different nowadays. But so I'm sitting in my room, like, my mom had asked me probably 20 times to put my clothes away, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it later.
Are you trying
Yeah,
to
I'll
have
do it
patience?
later. I'll do it later.
Push them buttons is what it was.
Well, she said, like, in my mind, I almost said I was on my phone, but I didn't have a phone then. So I don't know what I was doing, coloring or, I don't know, throwing paper
Something.
balls at the wall.
Not doing what you were supposed to.
I was not. I was doing something in my room. I remember sitting on my bed, like, looking at my door, but I don't know what I was physically doing. Like, was I just sitting there literally doing nothing? Maybe I had my CD player or something. I don't know.
I would say
Whatever it was, she interrupted it the last time she asked me. And she was like, Ashley May, did you put them clothes put away? And I was like, hell no.
Oh,
She
You
said,
didn't.
what? I heard boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh, shit.
Not the feet across
Oh,
the floor.
I was so scared. And then she stopped at my door and she said, I'm sending your stepdad in here. I was like, oh, no, I'm in so much trouble. But I will say, I did not get beat for it. He actually laughed at me and he told me to watch my mouth going forward and I needed to put my damn clothes away. And I sure enough got off that bed and I put them clothes away. But I just remember vividly being like, hell no. And as quick as it came out, I was like, oh. Like, whoops. Yeah.
I can't say much.
But I will say, like, she was never too harsh on me. Like, probably it's why I was not a greatly behaved child. She wasn't, like, abusive, like, physically or anything like that.
Proud of you
Probably
for
not enough.
admitting that you were not the greatest
She
kid.
she probably should have whooped my ass a few times. I mean, it might have actually done something, to be honest. But I remember one time my stepdad was like, hey, she needs her ass whooped. I did something. I don't remember what I did. And she, like, faked it. She brought me in the room and she's like, okay, I'm going to smack the bed, but I need you to cry. Like, I need you to fake it. You know what I mean? He came in there and he's like, you didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. They ended up fighting. Totally forgot that I was supposed to be getting my ass whooped. So I, like, got out of there, went in my room, and it was what it was. But I remember that moment, like, and I'm like, oh. And I feel like from that moment on, I was like, shit, she ain't gonna whoop my butt.
My nanny saved me. I was that kid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that makes me wonder, like, like, the generation now growing up, they don't have, I mean, I'm sure there's kids out there not being treated how they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the disciplinary actions are different than when we grew up.
Look,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not even gonna lie.
I know it.
I let Chomp have a voice at a very young age. Anybody who knows me knows this. Because, like I said, we grew up in a different world. I didn't want her to feel like, her thoughts, opinions, her voice didn't matter. I wanted her to be validated.
Right.
Bro, let me tell you how validated my child can be.
Oh, God.
She cusses up a storm. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, there's no point. Everybody knows Kira. Like, it's bad. Even when we go to Target, they're like, oh, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh, you'll say sorry to them. She's
Right.
like, well, they're the older generation, Mom. She's like, you gotta be respectful. And I'm
Oh.
like, well, okay.
Okay.
But you're not like that at the house
Right.
or anywhere else. You remember that time that we went to Kroger and she was cussing that driver out?
Yeah.
He got out of the truck and everything. She's just like, what?
That's so insane. So
She doesn't back down.
not
I'll give
all of
that.
you know mine and Trish's relationship, right? So me and Trish met through, I used to be Kira's dance instructor. She was really little. And
was tiny.
so that's,
We had
it's
just
so
moved to
crazy
Dinwiddie.
to me to think where she is now versus like when you were like, get out there, get in your tutu, get out there and dance. And
I
she's
know.
like, okay.
Happy.
All right.
Yeah, no. That lasted
was-
for about like a
Aw.
few years, and then she started getting her own. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to. And I'm like, okay, we don't have to. And then
Yeah.
she would change her mind. She'd be like, oh no, I miss it. And I'm like, you got to tell me. Like, I'm
Well, I
just
quickly
paying for
learned
it.
like she was all like, if we did, I remember doing like our duets and stuff together. She was all for that. Mm-hmm. But it's like she would get so mad, you guys. She would be so irritated with these other kids. She would be like,
She's still like that. She's still
Ashley,
like that.
can you tell her to stay on her line, because when I swing my arm this way, it almost hits her in the face, and if it happens, and I'm like, Kira, you can't go elbowing the other dancers because they got off their tape.
I don't know where she gets that from. Like,
Oh, she's. a
I know I
character.
didn't raise her that way. I'm lying.
I'm lying. Please stop lying.
I'm a better person than what I used to be. I'm lying. It's me.
Play video games.
But I mean, but ultimately though, like, she's a good kid. Like,
Yeah.
who cares if she cusses? Like, she's a good kid.
She is.
You
She's
know?
a really good kid.
Like,
I love her
would
to
be,
pieces.
you
Like,
know, with the troubles that my kids cause me all on their own.
yeah, but I love
I'm
your
like-
kids. Your kids are hilarious to me. I get it though. Like, but I don't
Kayson's
know.
in that stage where, like, look, all you kids listening out there, your parents know that you cuss, okay? It's not a secret. We know. No. We know.
There's so many kids. Now
I
it only-
appreciate that he tries to keep it not in front of
Yes.
me. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
I
But now
appreciate
he's
it.
past that stage to where, so now it's like, let me mouth it. Right? So we're in the dentist and he hit like his foot on something. And you guys can't hear this, but Trish can see it. But he's like, and I'm like, what? What'd you say? He said, I didn't say it, Mom.
Oh, the loophole.
Look here.
trying to
You
find the
said
loophole.
it. Like, I heard the whisper.
You
Heard
may
the-
not have
Whisper, okay?
I
may
seen
not
your
have
syllables.
verbally said it out loud.
I'm pretty
but
sure y'all
child-
know what the word is just from nothing. From
Oh, they know.
nothing.
They know. It's the main
Ah.
one. It's the main one. At least, I can say that for the kids is that when the time comes, they try to control it, even though it slips
Which
out
I
every now and
appreciate, because, other things are out of control. But I'm glad we have that filter still. I'm appreciative of it because I know it's not going to last long.
then. It isn't.
It's going to be one day and it's going to be all
grown.
downhill from there.
Exactly.
It's going to be especially with my mouth. But, toot my own horn, I didn't think they'd make it this long without cussing. So go me.
I was gonna say it.
Go
but-
me.
I remember when they were super little, so
I have a
I
potty
agree
mouth,
with that
dude.
statement.
I have a potty mouth, like real bad. It's
can't.
always been like that. I have that filter though. Like if I'm at work talking to a customer, like I can talk for a whole 5 minutes without saying a cuss word.
I don't know what they're doing, but
You can mean dog paws.
dog paws. I'm sorry, they were doing like adorable things or animal lovers. I apologize. But yeah, completely off topic. My
But
bad. We were just
Oh man, I don't know. Back to the
we love
subject.
our kids. Is what
Yeah,
it is.
and
My
it's
bad.
important to give them, let them be their own person. Let them build their own personality. Don't
Yes.
just constantly shit on them. Like, what do you expect back from that is my question.
Yes.
What do you expect back? Like, do you expect them to be, like, nice to you after you treat them like shit? Do you expect them to listen to what you want them to do?
I think
is the
it ultimately
expectation?
comes down to pride. People literally look too much into what other people are thinking of them as a parent instead of just going by what they think of themselves as a parent.
Right.
Their own intuition, their own way of, building a relationship with their child.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, those people aren't going to build a relationship with your kids. You are.
Right.
And when you sit there and you don't validate them or you make them feel like they're this small or beneath you, they're not going to want to talk to you.
Right.
Like, you need to treat them exactly how you would want to be treated. I've said it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You learned it in kindergarten.
You're
But it's one of those things where I don't think a lot of parents think of it that way because, I know every kid can be different too. Some, I guess, have gotten to the point where they're just like, my parents are this way and I don't want to talk to them. And it's not always the parent. So it's always
Yeah.
it's like a four-way intersection of looking at this. It's not
Well,
always
then,
like
I
the
said,
toxic
kids aren't
moms.
stupid. You know what I mean? Like she said, I just realized my
Yep.
mom's a narcissist. Like, you know, I'm not going to talk too into depth, but you know, close matters. You can't expect a relationship to just
Yeah, it takes
come out
two.
of nowhere, you
It
know,
takes
and
two.
especially once they're old enough to have that realization and start calling you on your bullshit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
at that point, like you gotta face some shit, even if it's something you weren't aware of. Like you gotta pay attention. Like it's not gonna help that relationship any just to keep almost adding to the bad.
If
know what I
you
mean?
don't
Like,
resolve what's already at hand and just keep brushing it underneath the rug, like it's gonna start showing. My dog has opinions. I know. They open their mouths to argue. Like don't.
they're like having
Yeah, they're
a
having
party.
like a growly party. So don't mind. Yeah, don't mind them. They're
dog paws. Dog paws.
they have little dog syndrome. They think they're bigger than what they are.
They probably sound huge on here. They're so small. What are you scared of? They're having the time of their life. We're just
They
like
are.
this is just gonna happen, y'all.
They
just,
are. They're. It's gonna happen. I do apologize. I mean, I would apologize, but it's hilarious. So. And here's Steve. Steve, give them like a treat. Get them to calm down. Yeah. we're
Yeah,
still
they're having
recording.
like a party.
They are.
It's
They're.
okay,
They're having like an open mouth party.
but they're like
So,
real cute and it's very distracting.
It is. They're adorable. I like their little.
Oh look, give
Their
me
little
treats.
argumentative selves. Good job. But yeah, I think it depends on the situation. As far as like, you know, our listener here who wrote in, it seems like I said, we're not in your home. We can't really sit there and say, hey, this is what you do, because we don't know the type of relationship that they have. We don't know what goes on or what has gone on. But if it's just a one-sided thing, it's never going to work. It has to be communication.
And I will say, so like a specific question was like, why even have kids if you treat them like this? Girl, if there was like a test you could take, like 90% of people who have kids wouldn't have kids. You know what I
God,
mean?
yeah.
Like if there was like a set standard for what you need to have to be a parent, a lot of people wouldn't be parents. Sometimes it's, you don't realize that you're not a great parent until it's happened or it's too late. And at this point, it might sound like it's too late. Now, at the same time, so like me personally, I didn't have a good relationship with my mom or dad, but now that I'm older, I have that relationship with my dad because I don't need him to take care of me. I don't need him to do things that a child needs. It's on like my terms. So maybe they will have a better relationship when that time comes later in their life. I don't know. But
Well,
because you know, some people don't want to lose that relationship. I know.
we can't say like how old she is or anything because it would totally give it away, and I don't want to get her in trouble. more than
She's still young either
yeah,
way.
She's still
okay?
young.
She's young.
So I would just put it off as this: is that, you know, the more that you talk to people, whether that be your mom or someone that stays neutral, because if you're just talking to somebody that's like, oh yeah, your mom's terrible, your mom's awful, then that's literally what it's gonna be.
Right.
Like your relationship is always forever gonna be what it is. But if you have somebody around you that's neutral, who's just like, you know, yeah, I understand your point of view and I understand your mom's, and
Yeah.
somehow you and her can meet some type of like common ground, I think it could be different.
Yeah.
But it takes work. It
Yeah.
takes
On
work from
both sides. Both sides. She can't be the only
Jinx.
one. She cannot be the only one. And I feel like I struggle with that a lot, like in my life. And it's hard to be that person, but
Yeah.
if they're not willing to make the changes to keep you happy and in their life and involved and have that good relationship, what's the point? What is the point?
Thank you.
Like for what?
I've been saying that for years.
There's no point.
There's no point.
It's a waste of everybody's time. Even the asshole. Even the asshole. It's even a waste of their time. For what?
God, yeah.
I'm telling you. Coming from personal experience, you know, the way I grew up, I didn't really have a toxic mom and dad per se. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things happen that shouldn't have happened, but it was more so.
Dog calls.
So sorry.
Why do you wait till I start talking to start your shenanigans?
Because she's your dog.
Yeah, so more so it was. Let's just put it as a distant relative. Everybody grew up the same way, back in the 90s and whatnot. Nobody was, really rich. Everybody was kind of struggling. It wasn't the greatest economy. More so, I lived in a trailer, not even like in a trailer park. Like, it was a camper that was behind a house, not even connected to the electricity. Like, we ran off of like batteries and windows, and we had a family of 5 sleeping between 2 beds, a little couch, and it was like a murder home. But we lived there for about a year, and the person we were staying with let us live out there in the rain and everything else. Now, mind you, they were a relative, and
What the hell?
yeah, so on Christmas Eve one year, I remember we had a real bad snow a few days prior, and the roof kind of caved in a little bit, so we didn't have a way to seal off heat. So we came inside. She let us come inside, but she made us sleep on the floor.
Oh.
And now, mind you, this house is, at the time, was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, and it was just her living there. So she made us sleep on the floor, all 5 of us in her living room. And now, mind you, this house was also over 100 years old. So it was cold as hell, and we're all under sleeping bags, fully dressed. And apparently something had happened to where she didn't want us there anymore. So at 11:30 on Christmas Eve at night, we were kicked out completely and sent to my other grandparents' house. And we stayed there for about 6 months, and nothing was spoke of it again. Fast forward a few years later, I was still a little kid, but fast forward a few years later, what happened?
What? What? Like, I'm trying
So
to
okay,
wrap my head
right,
around
right,
this.
right, right. So
That's a whole
I get it
new
from
level
both
of
perspectives,
toxic.
right? Like, I guess if maybe they saw it as like a way to help. Like, if this is the only way I can help, at least I'm giving them that. I see that. But if ultimately you ended up coming into the house anyway, why keep you out there in that?
Oh, the plot thickens.
Oh,
And then
please
hold
do
on, I have
tell.
more questions.
I know.
It
I
gets
have so many
worse.
questions,
It
but
gets
I feel like
worse.
if we have more questions, he won't finish. So finish it, and then I'll ask.
I wrote
But
it
I'm gonna
down.
write-
It's good. I wrote it down.
So,
I'm writing down
needless
my
to say, fast forward about 5 years, I had become a teenager at this point, and all ends had, been broken, and we moved back into said house, and that's where I stayed until I went into the military. Well, at the time when we were staying there, my mom and dad fought all the time, like nonstop. He would scream at her. He never hit her or anything, but he would scream at her. And as I got a little bit older, I realized what he was screaming about, even though I was kind of brainwashed a little bit to make him think that, or to pretty much put it out there that he was an abusive husband, when in all reality, it was my mother's relative, that was doing the instigating more so. So relating to like a toxic parent type thing, I guess you want to say it in a sense. It was
Like, my face right now.
you kind of
I mean, it's like a. Oh my god. Okay.
That's what I'm
So-
Can I ask
saying.
questions yet? We're still going?
Yeah,
Keep
so
going.
needless to say, it's like
Shut up, Ashley.
you didn't see it as a young teenager, growing up. You only seen the one side of the story, the side that you were fed in relation to Monica's story. Your whole life you thought, a person was one way, and come to find out, once you said your dad left, you kind of started seeing things with open eyes. Well, that was the same when my dad left. They split up. Things started making sense. It's like, and this person,
Why he was the way he was.
why he was the way he was, why he fought so hard against things. There's nothing more painful than when you're, from his point of view, there's nothing more painful than when you try to raise your kids, but you're being undermined and pushed aside and not allowed to do what you're supposed to do as a parent because you're dealing with a narcissist who has been entitled their entire life. So it's the way a narcissist works. They make you believe things that aren't actually true, make you question your dignity, make you question your decisions. So
Right.
this whole time you were fed one way. Well, I went off to the military and didn't think much of it. Well, when I got out and came back around to try to plant my feet down, I went back to said house, and I seen it more then when I was kicked out 6 months later because family and friends were coming down for a visit and needed a place to stay. So the bedroom I was staying in was no longer available.
You just
So I kind of got forced out to go live somewhere else, even though I had just got out the military.
He just came back.
Right.
Yeah, literally, I just got out the military, and it's like, oh, well,
All right, figure it out.
I've got family and friends coming over that need a place to stay, so bye.
As if you were like in luxury to begin with.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well,
So wait, that also means that multiple people. Keep going.
there's like
So-
so many questions right now.
again, 10 years later, I made the mistake of going back, as if I didn't get enough punishment. I made the mistake of going back as a safe haven type thing to get back on my feet with the promise that everything was going to be okay from said toxic. And turns out that it was so much worse than what I realized when I was a kid. So it opened my eyes so much to why things happened the way they did. A narcissist will wear like the greatest and most prominent mask to get you to believe everything that, and make it seem like they're not the problem, and you believe that, because you want to believe that they're a good person. But underneath, once they lose their luster, once everybody is gone and out of their life and they stop having control, that's when it all boils downhill and they come out and show their true colors. So for Monica, it was her thinking that her mother was one way this entire time because she had the mask on, and then things started unraveling and she started seeing what was underneath the mask, and now she kind of, I guess, feels
She's like, "That's why."
betrayed. So it's, things will start coming to her,
Well,
how she, all the things she dealt with where she said it was, where she thought it was a good thing, now she's questioning.
my mind is blown. Like nothing happened to your YouTube video, I promise. It was just or Spotify, whichever you're watching or listening to this on. It just I know who you're talking about. There's only a couple people that knew about that person too. So it's like Ooh.
I have a few different notes, okay?
I feel like she's old enough she ain't gonna listen, so we should just, put her out there.
Yeah, Gertrude, if you're listening. No, I'm just...
Gertrude. We're gonna call her Gertrude. And as far as
Gertie.
Monica's mom,
My thing is I worry that, okay, so for instance, I started writing a book about a similar situation, right? Because I feel like everybody kind of has that, whether you're in whether you have a good childhood or a bad one. You perceive things one type of way as a child, but that's because you're a child.
Yep.
And then you grow up as an adult in either whether it's current situations or looking back, you're like, damn, that's not how I remember it.
Yeah.
Or you run into situations like I have on the regular with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
That never happened. That never happened. Yes, it did.
I got that a lot.
So my thing is I worry that because I got to the point, I found out late in life about my mom. Late in life. Way later than I should have. And so that being said, it's like I remember being made to feel like it was me and not her. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So like it's a narcissist to like a high extent. Like you are so destined to not have people see the real you. You convince them that they are the problem.
Well, they lie about it so much until it's truth.
Me and my sister were always the problem. And I'm wondering, because she said her dad left, if maybe she was made to believe that she was part of that it was her fault. And if that's the case, don't feel like that. Like, that's not on you, period. My mom used to always do that. Her boyfriends, her relationships, anything that went wrong in her life, it was me and my sister. She was never accountable for anything she did, ever.
And that's one of the things I was going to put out there is that from what we have spoken with Monica about is that a lot of everyone else's side was not told. It was mainly, this happened to me, and they did me wrong. Never, ever holding herself accountable for anything.
That's exactly how my mom is.
Yep. And
She can literally burn a building down and be like, yeah, but you walked across that road and it wasn't in a crosswalk. I'd be like, what? Excuse me?
Exactly.
You just burned the whole house down.
It's odd to me because I know there were a couple occasions where I may have gotten defensive in some situations, but I don't think I ever strictly got to a point where I was like, I'm going to make up this lie.
Right.
And I'm going to say it so many times that it's going to become truth to me.
Well, I think there's two different defenses, right? There's a defense because you're in the right, and then there's being defensive because you're in the fucking wrong.
Yes. And
like it's one of two ways.
That's a problem by itself because if you can't own up to your mistakes, that's your own, insecurity. That's something to where, I don't know if it's like from childhood or you really just don't want to be wrong. Like your pride is so high that you're like, I'm not wrong. And even if I am wrong, I don't want you to tell me that I'm wrong.
Right. They have to accept it on their own terms.
Yeah. And it's always like a loophole for them. Like they have to be the one to do it, but they have no problem whatsoever pointing out everybody else's flaws.
Right.
That's odd to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Classic
odd.
Narcissist.
Classic.
I mean, I think ultimately it's like it reminds me of a child. Like you aren't getting the attention that you want, so let me show my ass and have everybody look at me.
Literally.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what that child needs? That child needs some discipline. Okay? That's all I'm going to say because times are different.
Honestly, that could probably be like an issue too, is that they weren't disciplined. Like maybe their parents weren't in the picture or something.
That was literally one of my questions. Like, so it makes you wonder, like, what has this person been through? Not in that situation per se, but before that. What made them say this is a normal way to act? What made them say this is a normal way to treat people? It's not something that just comes about.
Has to be.
They've either seen it, been around it.
A role model.
You have to.
Right.
I mean, you don't.
But is that also something that is kept, in the back? That's never brought to light because we don't want to admit that we have a bad parent or we didn't grow up the greatest.
Yep.
Some people are like that. They don't like to share that they struggled when they were younger.
Yeah, I think it stems from people who really never had like that figure in their life that was positive either to break the cycle.
Right.
It could be a long cycle like in their family that they just probably weren't even aware was happening.
Right.
Until, well, if they ever figure it out, I don't know. Some people really don't. I
feel like
really
it takes somebody saying something, but are they going to listen? No.
Probably not.
They're not going to listen.
What
It
if
doesn't
their
matter.
parents didn't listen, What if their parents never had that either, so they didn't know they were doing wrong? And if you keep going back, towards like the lines of like great grandparents and stuff like that, they didn't have it either. They were told to just sit there, suck it up, don't talk about your feelings.
I feel like this kind of stems into like a juicy subject, maybe like some family secrets. Because I'm thinking about when I was going about writing my book about life being different from what I saw it as growing up.
You better
I'm
still
thinking
write
about,
that too.
And as I'm talking to people, you find out more and more. Obviously, they don't tell on themselves, that person that you're talking to. But if you get enough details about one person, that person that you're told that information about, you can then go to that person and say, hey, this is what I was told about, this is the side that I've heard. What is your side? Now you know their side. Then you know somebody else's side. It's like a web.
So
and everybody ends up ratting out everybody.
Yeah, you're like
without
stitching
even
a blanket
knowing
together.
It.
You're stitching a blanket of secrets.
I found so many family secrets just from talking to 5 family members.
Yep.
5 family members. I found out literally could write a whole book just on that subject if I wanted to.
Yep.
We have so many family secrets. I'm like, I don't think I can do that to them because, God rest their soul, most of them are gone now. So
some are
like,
meant to stay secrets. I'll just say
some
that.
are meant to
some
stay
are meant
secrets.
to stay
And,
secrets.
it's just like with, I guess, technically all 3 of our situations, I totally hit the mic with my pencil. I totally apologize for that. But it's like everybody's situation and what we've talked about from the beginning is that nobody knows how to mind their own business. So
Right.
I will sit there and say, I know how to mind my business. I'm not going to tell my family secrets.
Right.
There's a lot of bad ones. So I'm like,
I would dish out a few just for like shits and giggles and because they're entertaining stories.
Oh,
yeah.
But when it comes to like
real
this shit's gonna
hard
cause
stuff.
some drama, I'm not about
The real
that
hard
because then I'm
stuff.
not gonna get nothing for my book. They're gonna be like, I'm not telling you shit else.
Oh, so you are going to write your book. Okay. Because I mentioned that earlier and you're
Okay,
all
so
like, oh, let me
I got
be
to chapter
secretive.
like I don't know 6, and I got to a subject in my life and I got stuck. And I haven't picked it up since.
Well, you
I
better.
got how many years ago? Kira was in dance.
She was.
So,
That's what I was
10
like.
years
I've been
ago?
waiting for like
8
10
years
years,
ago? Yeah.
Ashley, for this book.
I literally have like 6 chapters and it's just chilling. It's just sitting.
I'm waiting.
I just need to
I'll
go
wait
past
another
it.
10 years. I'm telling you.
I'll
I'm gonna
just
be the
leave that
first
chapter
one.
wherever I ended it and just start a whole new
Talks
chapter.
about 10 years later.
10 years later.
And you, like,
Well,
I will
because
wait
I
another
also
10
got to the
years.
point where I'm like, okay, so your perspective, your opinion,
Mm.
if I'm already 6 chapters in and in my lifeline, I'm only in like 6th grade.
Oh,
ooh,
that's going to be a big old chapter book.
So should I separate it and do like smaller books versus a big book is what I'm saying.
Short
you could
stories.
sit
Right.
there and start like from like you could do childhood years, and then the other chapter would be like teen years.
Ooh, what if I split it up like schools do? Like
Yes.
K through 5.
That would be cool. Almost like dork
Then my
diaries.
first book's done, bro.
Yeah.
K through 5's done in the books.
I was about to say it's
I just
like
gotta
dork
publish it.
diaries. You know, they have like 1 to whatever.
Make it like a series.
Telling you, that would be cool.
What it would. I
I
mean,
would really like it. I'm still mind blown. Like I don't even know what to say.
I don't.
I will
honestly,
never
I
look
kind
at
of left the
campers the
situation
same way
because
anymore
I
because
don't.
of your
It wasn't
story.
even like,
My
like-
thing is, it's okay. He started out with, excuse me, he started out with in a trailer, and I'm like, well, I live in a trailer, and then it just
Yeah.
aggressively got worse, and I was like,
Oh,
well,
it was.
I don't live like that.
This wasn't even like
It
a-
escalated
Yes.
so quickly.
This wasn't even, I don't know, it wasn't even a murder home. It was one you pull behind that somebody
Does he
had
smell nice?
It smells so good.
that somebody had dropped
Oh.
off. Like I think it was my uncle had
I'm trying to
dropped-
listen, but Trisha's over there all up in your neck.
He smells like a man.
Scratch and sniff.
Them hormones, I tell you what.
I'm telling you, scratch and sniff, baby. No,
I can't smell it. I'm scratching harder.
not just for entertainment.
Okay. Look, y'all have to forgive our ADHD, okay? We realize it's a problem and we're working on it, okay?
Look, they don't even care. Okay,
We're trying to stay on
small little shout out if you've made it this far. We were stopped at Food Lion. We were stopped like in the middle of breakfast. Everybody has said something about our podcast, and it's so cool because it's like in person. It's like, oh my God, somebody's actually listening to our podcast. So we keep leaving little cards everywhere. So thank you. Like, you're making us feel like little celebrities or something in the Tri-City area. Like,
we should do like an Easter egg hunt. Like, write something on the back of a card, and if they find it, I don't know what you get, but you get something.
A prize.
Hey, we have the little, we already have boxes set aside.
We do, because we were supposed to do the poll, remember? We haven't done a poll yet, so
Well, we
this
said
is...
4 episodes.
We're close. Yes. We're
Okay,
close.
so we've made it. We've made it. So we're going to do that. We're going to do something to where we will take like 25 different cards and we will just scatter them places, and we will tell you like little hints or something.
And this is like
this
all
little
over Tri-Cities, dude.
Yes. We'll get like a little basket together and put a bunch of stuff in it. It
Can
could
I
be
just note
gift cards?
something nice?
Bath and Body Works. I got candles. I got all sorts of stuff. Y'all don't even realize. I got Color Street.
Yeah, and these aren't no Dollar Tree candles.
Right.
Now, if you shop there, more power to you. But
More power to you.
No,
It
these
could
are
be a
like
Yankee
these are like
candle. It could
Yankee
be
Candle
all
and
sorts of
Goose
stuff.
Creek and
I want one. Amelia, go find the card.
yeah,
It
these
could
are
be movie
these
ticket,
are like top notch
like
candles.
gift cards. just saying.
Did you peep that not only is our audience half males, which hello, but
How you doing?
They know what I'm
that's
smelling.
so weird. I thought it would be females, like 100% hands down. I thought it was gonna be females.
I did. I was surprised.
And then we got some like Canadians in there. Mm-hmm. And then some. What was the other one? UK? Was it UK? Like 3%?
I have a couple gaming buddies that are from UK and Canada, so
Is that who it
could
is?
totally be who it
Could
is.
be?
And if
Oh.
so, hey,
Hey, that's so crazy to
you've
me.
known me for like 10 plus years. Woohoo! Told
like
you I was gonna make it.
It's like the newer version of pen pals.
Well,
my
70%
God.
The
of
internet.
males, right? 70% know already how he smells.
Erica, she can't. She's not over it. We thought she was past it. She's not past
You
it.
gotta come with
Let her
this man.
sniff
I
you.
did nothing.
You gotta come with him.
I
like,
did nothing. I just
That's
worked.
so good.
Hold
It's
on.
like cologne.
Look, I need to make.
I just worked.
I'm about to make a snippet of you just like getting a big sniff. So ready? Hold on. 3, 2, 1.
The big sniff.
Oh yeah, the sniffer. That'll be the short of the
It
week.
will.
I know. Hashtag sniffany. No.
Sniffing.
Telling you, come over here and get a whiff of this.
Hey,
It's like,
breathe in.
is that Bad Boy
breathe out,
cologne? I
breathe
think that's
in.
what it is.
Oh, it
It
is.
is.
Breathe
Oh my
out,
God.
breathe in.
Trish is cut off. Cut off.
It smells like
He smells like
Gain.
man.
it's like Gain and cologne and
See,
man.
smells like a man's man. No.
I'm telling you, like, is that what we smell like to them? Is that what it
I don't
is?
know.
Like,
Pheromones, man. They're a thing. They are a
smell
oh,
like
I
thing.
smell like vanilla.
You smell like a mom.
Mom.
Yeah.
The mom smell.
I love it, though.
That's why everybody likes me
dig
hugging them. They keep telling me I'll give
like
them
a
like the mom
comfort.
hugs.
It is. It's like
They said
you
I
know,
rub their back, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't even realize
do-
that.
you
when
give great
turn the
hugs,
heat-
Trish.
When you turn the heating blanket
She's a good
on,
hugger.
like
Maybe that's what
10
the prize will be. You get a hug.
You get a Trish hug. with
Everybody
your basket.
instantly was like, dang, I wanted that candle.
You get a Trish hug and a basket.
But can
Bam.
I get a candle?
And maybe a picture if you're lucky. No, I'm just-
I mean, it could be anything. I could throw in like movie ticket, like gift cards, all sorts of stuff because we love Cinema Cafe. I'm just saying. And I love alibis. Like, I know that Kat will probably be listening to this, so I'm going to tell you now, hey,
Hey, girl.
giving her a little shout out for freaking alibis and Loco Kitty. I love Loco Kitty. So
Good
if
Lord,
she's
them street
listening to this,
tacos.
oh my God.
I still haven't tried it. I need to go
You
try
have
it.
to go. And then we'll
Mexican
have like
street
meet and
corn.
greets.
Ooh,
Yeah.
let's do a mukbang.
Yes.
We're gonna do a
I'm
mukbang.
telling you. And like I know for the past like 6 minutes we've been talking like all this
Just
Oh yeah,
random.
we were just chilling.
ADHD.
Yeah.
So
So this trailer, let me get.
So
let me
about
tell
the
you
trailer.
this trailer. Okay, this was a drop off, a like 1981 pull behind camper,
Oh shit.
and it was only about 30 feet long, and a family of five lived in it. And I was about 6, maybe 7, which put my sister at 3, maybe 4, and my brother 10, 11.
So do you think, like, now you have a perspective of it, but do you think back then when you were younger you realized how bad it was? Or you had no clue?
I had no earthly idea. I was living my best life.
Right.
I
You're
had just
like,
got
fuck it.
one of those bikes.
I did. As
Like-
a kid.
Yeah,
I didn't
me too.
recognize it.
Somebody had given me a bike. It wasn't my family, but somebody had given me a bike because they got a new one, and it had the little digital voice readout button on the side that told you how fast you were going.
Oh, fancy
Man,
shit.
you couldn't tell me nothing.
Oh.
So I decided to run up the driveway to see how fast I could go. I was running and pushing the bike at the same time to see how fast I could run. I remember I hit 10 miles an hour. You couldn't tell me nothing.
Oh my god. That's
Then it got
exciting.
stolen. But
Yeah. It'd be like
I
that.
remember where you could buy that accessory.
I'm
I didn't know they
telling you.
actually made
Dude, I
bikes
got
with it.
one really nice bike in my whole childhood. Backtrack, I saw it before my mom gave it to me because she hid it in her shower.
what?
And I remember her being so pissed. She's like, well, she done saw it, so I asked me how to get rid of it. And I'm like, no, don't get rid of it. Like, I didn't see anything. I don't even know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Blah, blah, blah.
Traumatizing.
Well, so she gave it to me, my birthday, so I did the typical thing that a normal kid would do, right? I'm like, oh my god, no way. Like, it's insane. I don't even know. Give me a bite.
You
What?
sound like a Nickelodeon little person.
Tell us what she's
Old school
was.
90s.
No way. No way.
Tubular.
Gnarly, bro.
How about
Oh. All right, so look, I had this bike.
So anyway, I had this bike, right?
She let me keep it. She did not return it. Looking back, I hope to God she didn't steal it.
Oh my god.
But, so she let me keep the bike. I had this awesome mountain bike for like all of like 5 days, right? And I'm
5
like,
days?
all right, I'm
my-
gonna go to the park. Mind you, remind you guys, I grew up in Florida. Okay, this was not around here. So I ride my bike to the park because kids used to do that back in the day. We would like walk and ride our bikes to the park. So I rode my bike to the park and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hot shit. Everybody's going to look at my bike and they're going to be like, cool bike, bro. I even put like this rose sticker on it and I thought I was like hot shit. Like you could not tell me shit because I
Yep.
had a new bike, right?
Okay.
I go home after the park, after showing off my bike, thinking I'm hot shit. Da 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 da. I didn't lock my bike up. Okay.
Oh.
My stepdad told me like 5 times, Ashley, lock your bike up. Ashley, somebody's gonna steal your bike. Lock your bike up. And I, okay, I don't know. Hell no, I didn't say that. But I meant to lock it up. It slipped my mind. I got distracted doing something else. And I go to ride my bike to school the next day, and it's not under the tree. Well, I'm like, ain't nobody steal that. My stepdad's fucking with me. He done hid it somewhere. You know what I mean? Because I was supposed to put that shit up. So I'm walking around the house. I'm looking everywhere like, where's my bike? Like, joke's over. I got to go to school. Like, where's my fucking bike? He's like, you didn't fucking lock your bike up? And I'm like, oh, shit. He didn't take it. Somebody else did. I go to the park that afternoon, all sad and whatnot, like telling my friends, somebody stole my bike. This big boobied enemy of mine, you know who you are. This big boobied enemy of mine happens to come to the park with a brand new bike.
Oh, you mean a bike that looks exactly like yours?
It looked exactly, and she even had a rose sticker, don't you know? Okay,
the
but it wasn't
audacity.
my bike. Couldn't be my bike. I was so mad, but she had like a whole clan with her, and it was just me by myself. And I was like, well, damn, like, what am I gonna do? So you know what I did?
Go back to your house.
We went to the skate rink that night, and I took me and my group of friends, and I walked up to the big booby enemy, and I went, Hachoo! Do you have some tissue in your shirt? And she said, why would you say that? And I said, because you stuff your bra. And I walked away.
Did you take your bike back?
I never got my bike back.
I thought that she was
I
going
thought it
to
was
sit there and
gonna
tell
be
me
mad.
that
I felt that was enough for me. I was like, I just embarrassed the living shit out of this big boob biatch.
I would have snuck to the skate ring to get my bike, and if it
My
wasn't there, I would
mom-
have gone to her house.
Credit to my mom, unless she was fucking lying to me. If you were lying to me, then that's a problem. But she told me
Add it
that-
to the list.
She told me that she went to the cops and she gave them the serial number of my bike. She fucking lied.
Yeah,
She
that's
fucking
that was
lied. You stupid bitch. You fucking lied.
That was a
It's
straight
because
lie.
she saw our faces,
She
and she was
did.
like, she lied.
Like, as I said it out loud, like, she gave the cops my bike serial number.
I mean, as bad as it is, I had quite a few bikes and none of them had a number.
I was
on it.
about to say, I never knew that.
None of them had a
Well,
single
I
number
never
on
got
it.
another bike, okay?
Well, there's one in the shed.
All I ever got
I got
was
one in the
this
shed.
beautiful Huffy bike, and y'all are over here talking about, like, oh, we got these, like, racing bikes. Yeah, I had the 60s bike with the little basket in the front, and guess what?
Amelia
My
has,
brother...
like, a new age version of that.
A Schwinn.
Mine was blue, and my brother, with his badonkey, took it up the road and literally went too far into the road, and it got hit by a car. And then he was like, "Oh well, you know, things happen." No, things don't happen because I had it locked up. You went into my room, took the key, and then you put your badonkey on there.
Like, the only fun thing I got to do with that bike, I accidentally ran
not
one of my
funny.
friends over. Like, there was, okay, so I'm gonna draw y'all a picture. Y'all can't see it on there. So the sidewalk, right?
She has a whole map plan.
Sidewalk is like this. There's this tree. Like, so right here, there's no sidewalk. It's just like, figure it the fuck out, right? So, like, there's the sidewalk, and then figure it the fuck out, and then back to the sidewalk. So,
I can't breathe.
right about here, my friend Ian, shout out to Ian. He's probably hot now that he's grown up. Anyways, Ian, I'm married. I'm spoken for. So Ian is approximately here. View, stick figure, figure A, right? And then I don't even know how to do this. Is my bike. Okay.
But he's not on the figure it the fuck out yet.
No, he's not there yet. So he's walking beside me. This is what I'm getting at. And somewhere along the lines of figure it the fuck out, he went in front of me. And I said, bloop, bloop.
Oh, no.
I figured it the fuck out and I kept going.
So you legit ran him over.
I just ran him over. And he was tiny. He was like way smaller than me. And I'm just
How
like,
you gonna sit there?
"Doo-doo-doo."
How you gonna sit there
Parkour.
and talk about Ian like that? Like, oh, I bet you're hot now when you done ran him over.
So as I get to the figure it the fuck out,
She just keeps going. She's like,
he tripped on something in the figure it out section. Okay,
so
he
now
tripped.
Now he tripped.
I don't know how he got on the ground because he was on the ground for me to run him over, you know. So I don't know what happened in the figure it the fuck out. We was both trying to figure it the fuck out, I guess.
I guess you're the only one that figured it out.
And I boom, 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 and I remember I kept going.
thank you.
And I was like, "Hey man, like, are you good?" He told me he was good, so it is what it is. No broken bones. At least he never went to go get checked for them, and like we were still homies at the end of the day.
See, that's a true friend.
We just
when you
never
get
again-
ran over by them.
But did you name him Skidmark?
Wait, Ian, did you steal my bike because I ran you over?
The plot
Epiphany.
thickens.
No, I lived right across the street from them. There's no fucking way. And
No,
I
he
literally,
did.
I was over there every day though.
He did. He hid that thing in the basement or
So-
something. He
He
was
took
like,
it
you
to
know
the
what?
scrapyard.
You took my dignity when you ran me over. I take your bike. Like,
An eye for an eye.
Dude, I used to dance to Thong Song with this kid. We had no idea what it was
Oh
about.
my- Bro.
No idea what it was about. We'd just be on the couch like,
Remember our carpool karaoke?
yes.
Oh my god.
Shit.
oh god.
We literally jammed out one night singing the thong song.
Oh,
Like,
God.
I'm like,
I still have that recording.
You felt
we were
old, but yet
super
young.
white. We were super white.
yeah.
We call that the white singing. The
telling you.
white group.
You know, when you're bobbing your head with no rhythm and you're
Yeah.
just screaming at the top of my lungs.
But we
Top
were
of my lungs.
but we were in sync, okay? We were in sync. We
Right.
even did the
Yeah.
Aw.
Not Backstreet either. No, in sync.
Oh,
Exactly.
in sync.
And we totally got off topic.
You did. I'm so sorry.
We apologize.
I don't even know
And
how
we
I
should
got
probably
to
technically
I've no
finish it up
I have no
because
idea.
it's like
Yeah.
59
Well,
minutes.
look
and-
here, Monica. Sometimes parents can be shitty, and the moral of the story is lock your fucking bike up, okay?
Don't live in a mobile home that has a hole in the roof.
Okay, I will be.
I
will
think you
be
need to close this one.
Mother
first.
Trish for a second.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
And we won't
I'm
be talking
sorry.
about
I'm
our
sorry.
stolen bikes. And I will tell you, Monica,
Seriously.
and
Seriously.
anybody else that is going through this or needs like personal advice, I am not an expert by any means. I am not a genius, but I will tell you that I've been around a lot of people.
And a lot of bullshit.
Boy, do I know it. So it takes two in every situation to want to make things work. And if both parties are willing, you can pretty much do anything that you set your mind to. But it has to take both. It can't be just a one-sided thing. Trust me, I know. That's why my marriage ended, because it can't be one-sided. Like, I know I tried for like 10 years. So, just point of view for a second, okay? Parents can be shitty, but sometimes, teenagers can be shitty too. Mm-hmm. It does not mean that you shouldn't be validated. It doesn't mean that your voice should go unheard. It doesn't mean that your opinion doesn't matter. You should always go in 100% on anything. I hate when people say 50-50. It should be 100% from both parties.
Right.
And if you're willing to work on it and she's willing to work on it, things can change tremendously.
It's got to probably start with that conversation.
It
like,
does.
It sucks, but you're gonna have to have that conversation. If it ends up in a fight, at least you tried.
Exactly.
You
I was
tried.
going to say that at least you tried, at least you can literally sit there and say, hey, I gave it my best shot. And if she's not willing, she's not willing, and vice versa for kids. Any kids listening at this point, if you feel in the same situation as Monica, if you feel like your voice just isn't being heard or you're being taken wrong or they're being defensive in some way, more than likely they're just upset because you called them out on it. So,
And parents, don't be assholes.
yeah, be open to conversation with your kids because they're not babies anymore once they hit a certain age. They're young adults and they're learning from you for future relationships. Like, this is how your friendships are going to be, your romantic relationships are going to be. Set the example. If you want them to have a successful relationship, friendship, what have you, whatever relationship, you're going to have to set the example. And if you've already done everything that you can, sometimes kids have too many bad seed friends maybe, or outside influence somewhere else where they feel a certain way about you. And that too can be pretty bad. So that's why I said it could be so many situations that it's not always the parents, not always the kids. Sometimes it's a lot of different things. It's life.
And get you a support system.
Yeah.
Because even if it's just one person, just one person. Me and Trish started this thing, and this is what we can end with, I guess. Mm-hmm. We kind of slacked off because we started focusing on the podcast. But
we did.
We were doing, what was it, 2-1? Is that what it was? 2 positives?
Yes, 2 positives
Oh, I
and
remember
1
that.
negative.
So we were texting each other every day. It didn't matter what time, whatever. When we thought it could be a day late, whatever. Mm-hmm. We would sit down and think about 2 positives that we had for the day and 1 negative. And it kind of just helps you, if you feel like you're living in that shitty situation and there's no way out, it kind of gives you a different perspective on a lot of different situations in your life. And I think that's why we quit doing it. Honestly, we got to the end where we're like, well, maybe everything isn't as negative as I thought. And
yeah,
you
because
kind of run out of shit to complain about.
Yeah.
It's like, well, my negative today was that I didn't get to take a nap. How
Yeah.
silly is that? You know what I mean?
he remembers. Because
Yeah,
I would tell him the
so
positive
find a
and the
friend,
negatives.
do that, or do it to yourself. Text yourself every day.
Yep.
A 2-1. This is my 2 positives and my 1 negative.
And it
Only
really
allow for
helped.
1 negative.
Oh, it really helped you to see that you have more positive than negative in your world. So we close with that one. If you're somebody that is dealing with a parent or someone else where you just don't feel heard, reach out. And if they get to a point where they're being like defensive, or they just don't want to openly communicate with you, or they just want to be like, well, I did this because you did this. They're just not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, give them time. At least you tried. That's all you can do. You can't control people,
Right.
but you can control how you react to things. Better life, healthy boundaries. It takes time. It takes work. It's not easy, but trust me, after 3 years, I can honestly sit there and tell you it is motherfucking worth it. I got rid of so much toxicity, so I will 100% sit there and say,
Yes.
I am glad it happened. I am glad.
I think things will
Bam.
get better for this particular person. I think things will get easier.
So we leave you with that one.
Yep.
I know it's another hour, but I hope you enjoyed it just like last episode with our shenanigans. And, you know, lock your bikes up. Like,
Yeah.
you just never know.
Lock your bikes. For
If
real.
you're running over your friends, like, they're going to retaliate and take your bike.
Put a trick sticker. So not just the rose, but like a smiley face somewhere else that's hidden.
And, you know, let your family in. Don't let them live in their
Right,
camper
don't
in the
keep them
back.
outside in the weather.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you know, the camper's cold, they're cold.
All right. Haas is like, that's what you guys got from that. That's what I get.
Yeah, I guess I left out the part that when we got kicked out,
Oh God.
like, we had to go stay with my father's side of the family, and I'm pretty sure we had air mattresses in the basement.
It got so much worse.
But Haas was living his best life at 6 years old, jumping on.
Yeah, it was. We had air mattresses in the basement.
But now you look back and you're like, what the fuck?
It was concrete floors,
so
and
much
like when I say it was the basement, like when you looked out the window, it was like ground level. So and
Like
the
one of
hot
the
water heater,
tornado-
the hot water heater
go
was in the
underwater?
basement too. So we had the hot water heater over here, the crinkly staircase here, and then just a
Crinkly.
flat concrete slab.
What's not a crinkly staircase?
Well, this house was also like over 100 years old.
Oh, so you mean literally crinkly?
Oh yeah.
Like falling apart.
Like, there was
okay.
it was
I imagine like a
attached-
crinkle French fry.
It was-
like I was like, that's
I
a
was thinking
stair.
the same thing.
These were like somebody had concrete steps going in the basement, but then they put wood over top of it and then like nailed them together.
Sketchy.
Yeah, like that
telling
basement caved in some years later, but
At least you weren't in there, bro.
Yeah.
Positives.
yeah.
You weren't in it.
You know, when I first met Hoss, he would go like directly into like, you know, this conversation and be like, oh my God, he's so funny. And then it would just get like real down low. The lights would dim all of a sudden. I'd be like, hey, what happened? And he would be like, let me tell you about my childhood. And you know, I have a new perspective on everyday life because of you. So thank you.
Aw.
Thank you for that. Like I'm going to hold that trauma dear to me every day.
I've seen stuff.
So I will say though,
This
like
war hero.
even just scrolling on the internet, like it makes me feel better. Maybe that's a shitty trait. I don't know. Like it makes me feel better that other people went through it versus being like
Yes,
nobody
that's-
did.
We've done that.
It's not that I
Yep.
want somebody to go through
No.
that, but
That's the reason. Like
You
I
relate
guess-
though.
Right.
You
That's the-
relate.
yeah.
it's like, hey, me too, bro.
That's why people are listening now.
Yeah,
because they
because they're
relate to
like,
us.
oh
Who
my
else
God.
ran their friend over?
Just saying.
Yeah, you know,
Nobody?
no,
Oh, okay.
Can I do this? No, yeah,
What?
no, my friend backed somebody over when I was in school. Like he like I don't know. I
Wait,
think he was putting a grocery.
backed like a bike or a car?
No, it was a car.
Oh, that's much worse.
Yeah, he.
Okay,
he,
sir,
much
it's not that
worse.
type of podcast.
backed
Okay,
somebody-
bikes are one thing.
You remember, you know, Jake?
Oh my God, Jake.
No, he went to Egypt for like because he has family in Egypt. So he was walking down the street. Now the currency exchange in Egypt is amazing. He went over with $1,000 and it was equivalent to like 20 grand here. So he went over with $1,000 for a month. Said he lived like a king and everything, but he was like walking to I guess their version of a grocery store to get some stuff, and like a taxi driver hit him at like 20 miles an hour.
Damn.
And he tumbled over on the sidewalk and he stood up and the guy just honked his horn, waved, and drove off.
I'm just hung up on the money. Like, pack your shit. Let's go to Egypt.
Oh, it is. He said not only did he stay in a 5-star hotel, But he got like 3 square meals a day with like steak and everything else and
You and Jake scare me.
seafood and all this other good stuff. 3 meals a day. He said he got massages. He got freaking.
Where's Jake?
He's in.
He's in a different state now.
I think he's in between West Virginia and like Western Virginia. Yeah.
That'd be a good story.
Bro.
He's.
We got so many stories. And if we
he's-
don't end this now,
I
people
know.
are
All right.
literally
Yeah,
going to be like,
so-
what?
We love you guys. Bye.
Oh. So before we leave, there's just one. It was Tiffany. You remember.
Oh, yeah.
We had to wish Josh a happy birthday. That was
Oh,
yesterday.
George.
George had his birthday because
Wait.
I'm going to tell you that story, okay?
Okay.
But I'm not going to
Not
say it
here.
on here, but I'm going to tell you that story because Tiffany still laughs at this. So, happy birthday, Josh. 15th birthday, that was yesterday. I hope you got everything you wanted. And knowing your mom, you got more than what you wanted because she spoils you. Thank you for listening.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And now we're going to leave because it's been an hour and 10
Right.
minutes and we apologize for that. But you know what? I bet you're still laughing. You're welcome. So until next week, I don't know what the plan is, but we have like 4 more letters.
It's a mystery.
We're going to pass out those little cards. Look for that. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Adios.
Love you. Bye.
Got anything more to say?
Stay in school and don't do drugs.
Nugs, not drugs.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah,
Yep.
does everybody remember the DARE program? That ain't going to work. Y'all have a good
Oh, I
one.
miss my dare officer.
Oh my god.
He passed away like 5
Anyway.
years
Cut
ago.
it. Cut it. Cut
We're
it.
cutting it.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Stay safe out there.